All right, hello CNH. Thank you so much for taking the time to come out to the Recognition and Retention Sundown webinar. So first, I'm going to introduce myself and just go over some quick logistics. Before we start, if you ever have a question at any point during this webinar, please raise your Zoom hand. There is no need for you to wait till the end. And I will actually not be monitoring the chat during this presentation. So if you prefer to send a question through the chat, you can do so at the end. So a bit about me before we begin. My name is Austin. I'm a fourth year at UC Berkeley, double majoring in economics and political economy. And I am this term's district member recognition and education chair. 2 terms ago, I was the club treasurer for UC Berkeley. And last term, I was the MD&E chair for UC Berkeley, as well as the executive assistant on the district MD&E committee. And hopefully, as you can tell by my experience, I have a lot of experience working with recruitment, recognition, retention, and I'm really excited to give you all that I have learned within my past few years here in Circle K to help you better recognize and retain your membership. And a fun fact about me is that I do not drink coffee. And yes, Khadija, I am an econ major who doesn't drink coffee. I read your chat last week. Okay, so recognition. Well, first off, what is recognition? I'm sure that most of you here are already familiar with it. It's just simply any form of appreciation to spotlight an individual or group, just recognizing that a member or someone else is making the time out of their busy college lives to come out to a Circle K event or just participate in something that your club is doing. And I really encourage you all, as you go about planning for your term, to recognize members based on their dedication on all levels of Circle K, not just the club level, and our 3 tenets that we have. So, well, there aren't really any cons of recognition, in my opinion, because for pros, it really helps improves overall retention, which is why this topic is combined with retention. These two really go hand in hand. And once you spotlight someone, it creates a warm, fuzzy, and overall supportive atmosphere, and basically an environment where members feel seen and feel welcome and valued. Will be an environment that they want to stay in. And really, any type of recognition goes a long way in helping them feel more welcomed and committed in the club. So I've broken up 4 different ways that your club can recognize members. First is continuous, and then I'll briefly talk about the membership recognition program. I'll talk about some special end of the year awards your club can consider giving, as well as our individual district awards. And finally, recognition does not necessarily have to be a title or an award. It could just be some type of form of simple verbal gratitude and appreciation. First off, for continuous recognition, as the name implies, it is something that you can easily repeat consistently over a span of time, that can be focused on like any aspect of the individual. A lot of clubs, they would do like a member, like something of the season, or like at the end of their semester or quarter. For larger clubs, if you have lots of events in a week, you might want to consider doing a member of the week just to recognize more people in your club. And of course, overall, the most common continuation title I see is member of the month. And well, I just like to shout out to you all to if you notice any particular outstanding or dedicated general board member from your club that might not be recognized, I recommend that you nominate them to be a district member of the month on the link shown in the slide. And for these continuous recognition awards, it is likely that the person you recognize probably won't be recognized again, because you obviously want to split up all the different members of the week and members of the month amongst multiple people. So issue them a certificate so they have a reminder of their accomplishments, and if your club has the budget, a small gift. And definitely for our communications and marketing chairs in here, please make the effort to feature these members on social media or in your club's newsletters. A lot of times clubs just announce their member of the month, their member of the week at like a general meeting, and it's probably forgotten about. But for that member, you want to make them, for that member, you want to be, who's recognized, you also want them to continue to be involved in the club after they earn the recognition title. So once you document people on your media platforms, they'll feel like a part of the club's history and platform and legacy, not platform. All right, I'll briefly go over the membership recognition program. I actually won't go too in depth about it because there will be a Sundown webinar in September to talk about everything about the membership recognition program in detail. But just to briefly go over it, it is the largest recognition program we have in the CNH district that recognizes dues paid members on their overall attendance in Circle K. One recent change that was implemented with the MRP last year was adding on leadership and fellowship hours. So the MRP recognizes members who are really well-rounded in their attendance. There are 4 levels to MRP: bronze, silver, gold, and platinum. And you can see all the different requirements for each tier on the left-hand side. And what my biggest advice to our MR representatives or club secretaries who are promoting these membership recognition program, this could be a really great tool for member retention as it gives members goals that they can strive to achieve for. And when someone reaches an MRP tier, I encourage you to just give a shout out and a small token for their attendance at a general meeting or even at your club's banquet. There are some special end of the year awards and some district awards that your members that you can consider giving out to your members. A lot of the clubs they would do some type of the year award, like some examples shown on the slide: new and returning member of the year. You don't always have to limit recognition to just individuals. You can recognize groups of people like family of the year, mentor-mentee member of the year. And if you're an executive board member, it's also important to recognize your appointed board members for all their hard work and effort throughout the year. So even probably consider doing an appointed board member of the year award. And also, that's something that's usually awarded at the end of the term is a member of like a specific tenant, fellowship, service, and leadership. An example is shown here on the slide with the capital division. These awards do have some more significance to member of the month and member of the week. So earning this type of special award usually reserved for someone who's really dedicated and involved in Circle K, and especially if you hand out to mostly just general members, that can encourage them even more to remain involved in Circle K next year, or even consider doing a leadership position. And yeah, if also you don't always have to just limit recognition at club level. Try to get your members recognized on the division district level. For example, on the district, we have the district member of the month nomination form that's open to anyone to fill out. And you can if your LTG doesn't have any recognition programs in place, you can always reach out to them and give them that suggestion, especially if you're a club officer, and just even recommend someone from your club that you like to see recognized. And also on the district level, on top of district member of the month, we have the new member of the year award and returning general member of the year award. And definitely for these awards, I recommend that you try to issue a certificate, and if your club has a budget, a small gift just as a memory of this award. And if your club doesn't have the capacity to document like members of the week, members of the month on your club's social media, I really do recommend that you do try to put in the effort though, for these types of awardees on your club's social media newsletters and even your club's website, because an award like this is like a major accomplishment, and you want them to feel seen, welcome, recognized, and overall make them feel like a part of the club's history. And as I said earlier, recognition does not simply have to be some type of title or an award. Oftentimes there'll probably be so many dedicated people in the club that you want to be recognized. But if you just create more awards or titles to give out to people, that kind of lessens the significance the of those titles and awards. So simple gratitude and appreciation really go a long way in recognizing and retaining members. Um, for example, like you a type of recognition you can possibly consider doing, offering incentives for drivers, general members who volunteered to help out your club's board to chair an event, mentors who picked up a little, family heads, etc. Essentially, any role in the club where members are taking on an extra responsibility to help run the club's smooth operations is an opportunity for you to recognize them and just verbally say thank you and give them maybe a small gift at your club's banquet. You could, some type of content idea I recommend for our communications marketing officers. You can probably start doing weekly appreciation posts for your members or bi-weekly, and some type of like member spotlight, or you can call it a member Monday to give it a nice alliteration title. Well, just overall, just recognizing people and spotlighting people in the club will again make them feel part of that community. As an example here on the right-hand side with UCLA for some of their class of 2022 seniors. And at general meetings, banquet, or a division or district events, maybe a spirit and social chair can put in the effort to organize cheers for certain members who are recognized. Like maybe at a general meeting, somebody wins a raffle item, and your club can possibly do a cheer if that's something you're comfortable with doing for that member who won that raffle item. And so there's so many other ways beyond what I just mentioned on the last slide to recognize people. Feel free to tag or mention general members in event recap posts on social media and in your newsletters. I think for a lot of people, they probably associate a lot of value with being tagged in an Instagram post. And if you were to like tag a general member in like a post of like a service event, that'll make them feel, again, to repeat myself, feel like a valuable member of the club's community. Also, for when it comes to dues pay members, one of the things that you can ask for on your dues pay membership form is their member's birthday. And once you get that type of information, send that over to communications and marketing chair to work on doing birthday posts for general members. As you can see here on the right-hand side with UC Riverside, they do monthly birthday posts for their general members. At banquet, I think a fun idea to really make it feel more special and to basically recognize most of the people who come out is to do some type of fun superlative, especially for new members. A really great idea I have for if your club does like a separate new member installation, once a new member is installed, you can also add along some type of superlative to really make new member installation more fun and more light and more lighthearted. Here are some, I know what I just said might be a lot taken all at once. You start to wonder how you can go about implementing the things that I just said. So here are some suggestions I have. Just the number one thing is to remember to keep recognition going. Just make sure it's consistent. And if you're really busy, your club's really busy and you probably don't have the capacity to, don't worry about posting awards, appreciation, and social media newsletters. I really recommend that you just try to keep recognition going on consistently. Also, remember to highlight not only your new members, but also your returning members. I'll get onto it later, but really returning members build a foundation for your club and really keeps your club going in terms of event attendance. And yeah, remember to recognize members not only through the three tenets, but keep other aspects of recognition fresh. Okay. And next up, I'll talk about retention. Recognition and retention really go hand in hand, but I'll just talk about retention more generally in terms. So I understand for a lot of clubs, member retention can be one of the things that you may struggle with. Um, but so I really hope that this webinar can be a good assistance to you. Really, member retention, I guess when it comes to, you want to give people a reason to stay, because without member retention, without members staying and being involved in the club, you'll likely be hosting events with low attendance, and that's probably not really motivating for your planning board members who are planning those events. And so yeah, and also both, there might be a lot of focus, especially during recruitment season, to make new members feel welcomed and hopefully and have them stay involved. And maybe you might even consider giving members the week, members a month to new members, but it's also important to keep in mind returning members as well. So here are some retention methods that I have that I hope that you'll find helpful. I would say the first and foremost is personal communication and testimonies. If you're comfortable, follow and even engage with your club members on social media, and also send them some check-in text. It doesn't have to be necessarily related to Circle K, or it could be. For a lot of times when it comes to promoting events or just giving out just general announcements, you might just post in your Discord as an announcement for everyone to view, or like on your club's Facebook group, and leave it at that. But having personalized check-in text will make members feel like they're receiving special attention. And an example of a check-in text could just be, hey, I noticed that you haven't been coming out to club events for a while, just want to check in, seeing how things are doing. And also, yeah, I haven't really seen you in a while. Like, do you want to hang out sometime? And that hangout opportunity could just be like, oh, let's grab lunch after the service event on Saturday. Anyway, so also you overall want to be inclusive of any member that comes out. Maybe starting like a feedback or suggestion form for members to feel heard and valued in the club. And also you can start catering your events, your programs to members' interests, and that might make them even want to see more involved. And also at your club's general meetings or at any service or leadership events, it's always nice to start out with some type of activity or like an interactive personal icebreaker, just for the members to get more acquainted with everyone who came out to that particular event. Of course, and fellowship is a really huge part of member retention, and some common fellowship systems that you might be already familiar with: a mentor-mentee, or big and little, and families. Those are two of the most common systems clubs have in place to retain members. You could also consider if you don't already, maybe if it's not too much of a burden, to plan and offer socials after a general meeting or an event. Overall planning after socials will give people the connotation that, oh, Circle K really does care about getting to know us, and it's overall fun time, and people actually want to hang out. And having some theme weeks or spirit days during some time of the year will also be a great way to get members involved. And really, what is member retention is really just creating more unique, interesting opportunities for people to be involved, other than the normal like stream of events. First, I'll just go back to activities or icebreakers that your club can consider implementing or hosting to help people get acquainted with each other. I recommend that you try doing so at most events, and also try to do like different activities and icebreakers each time. Usually, an icebreaker activity that will work best is something that doesn't require technology, or can easily be accessed with a phone. You don't want to add on extra preparation to your general members. So something that people can do without any materials beforehand, or just with their phone would work best. And I really encourage that you try to do an icebreaker, an activity that involves some type of teamwork or interaction, as opposed to individual activities or where members competing against each other. And alongside teamwork and competition, it's important to remember to not to avoid emphasizing winning too much or pressuring others to participate, or even just choosing activities where it's easy for members to like not talk and participate. And an easy icebreaker that you could probably do at your first general meeting that doesn't require much preparation is like human bingo. And like, for example, like maybe at a general meeting, you can have 20 minutes aside and give everyone like a human, or give everyone like a human, like a human bingo sheet to complete, and the person with the most boxes checked off can earn like an extra raffle ticket if you're doing some type of welcome week raffle. I'll go and talk more about mentor-mentee, or big and little, as some clubs call it, and families. These fellowship systems both of these are really great ways for to keep returning members involved in the club. They can become like a mentor or a family head and help create a community in your club. As particular with mentor-mentee, it is usually more long-term than families. Families are on like a yearly basis, but with mentor-mentee, you have more long-term and permanent, intimate one-on-one relationships. And also, it's a really great way to retain new members or mentees, as if they are assigned to a mentor towards the beginning of the year, and then once the next year comes, they might feel incentivized to pick up another little or mentee in the club, so that way they can continue on their lineage. And also, one of the great things about mentor-mentee is you don't necessarily have a lot of board involvement at that. You could just let the relationships mature and grow on their own, and it's really it could be like something independent, and that your club's MD chair doesn't really have to manage. And in particular, when it comes to families, essentially families are a smaller community setting, amongst the larger club setting, because especially for shy members, a large club setting can be quite intimidating for them to get acclimated and open up with. And so a smaller community and a family will let members have a support system. And overall, they can also meet more people, like especially if they're assigned to, especially not, because I'm sure that not all mentor-mentee pairs might be compatible, or it might be limiting, like because it's more like a one-on-one thing. There's like less people involved in a mentor-mentee lineage, so families, it allows members to meet and get more acquainted with people outside of their lineage. And the great thing about these systems is that you could use these as incentives to have people attend events. Maybe, for example, you want to implement like a mentor-mentee week or a mentor-mentee competition week, and during the week there is Key to College, and one of the challenges can be come out to Key to College, like help in any way, and your mentor-mentee pair can earn X amount of points to win this prize that you're offering at the end of the week. And lastly, really remember attention, you want to create opportunities for members to utilize and take advantage of, and hopefully have them stay involved in the club. So particularly on this for service, it's great if your vice president of service or your service chairs can work on providing a variety of service events beyond. I know it might be easy to do tabletops, but maybe something that involves, I guess, people like basically having a variety of service events will allow people to pick and choose what causes they want to support, and also promoting the MRP might also help incentivize members to come out to service events. In terms of the leadership tenet, if you have any vacant board positions, I recommend that you open applications for them during the fall recruitment season. Especially for me, after being club officer for UC Berkeley for 2 years, one of the things that I've learned, especially when working with potentially interested new Berkeley students, is that they come out to a Circle K Welcome Week event expecting there to be some type of application or something to be a member. Obviously, that's not the case in Circle K. Everyone is welcome to be a member, but unfortunately, what I've learned during my times as a Berkeley club officer was that because there is no like application per se, they don't think Circle K is worth their time. So really, if you have vacant board positions or some of your appointed board members are looking to chair a committee, I encourage you to open like applications for them essentially once fall semester start. Of course, also comes with one of the great aspects of leadership too is that not only do you take on leadership positions, you also grow and develop as a person. And part of that is networking with club alumni, connecting with them and to assist members in their professional development and career journeys. One of the great things about Circle K, we're not just one major, one academic field. We come from a variety of industries. So there is likely an alumni for any type of student or major in Circle K. And you can also host a workshop for a club meeting to help encourage personal and professional development. And yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and wrap up this webinar with some key takeaways. So going back to recognition, there's just so many ways to recognize members. I encourage you all to just keep it up. And recognition doesn't always have to be a title, an award. No matter how small or big some type of recognition is, it will go a long way to keeping members involved. And I know recognition and retention can seem daunting, especially as a former MD chair, but small steps really make big impacts. Just even like asking a general member, like not even in a Circle K context, to just grab lunch or dinner one day will help create a personal connection and make them feel like a member of the Circle K community. And that is the webinar. I want to thank you all so much for coming out tonight and listening to what I have to say. And I really enjoy the rest of your night. And I wish you all the best of luck with upcoming fall recruitment and retention. If you have any questions for me afterwards, please don't hesitate to reach out. If you're a club leader, you're hopefully already in our CNH Club Leadership Discord, feel free to reach out to me on Discord, or you can email me at the email shown on the screen. But that is the end, and I'm ready to take any questions.
He has a question in the chat.
Oh, yes. If there was a question in the chat, feel free to resend it because I was not checking the chat during the webinar. And then I will send the sign-in link again for those who came during the presentation. And yeah, Andy asked, how do you make certificates / are there any templates? So for our club leaders, our MD chairs, when you're hosting, if you're thinking about hosting a new member installation, there are actually general like certificate of membership templates that you can use, that you can hand out to your new members at new member installation. But I guess when it comes to member of the week, or like certificate member of the week, member of the month, feel free to create your own template. Maybe you want to do something that relates to your club theme, or you also might likely have previous templates from your club's history that you can go off of. Oh, and also ask, what are some low-cost free recognition things beyond social media shoutouts that you have seen? Well, that's a really that's a really great question. So I really recommend maybe going back to like, for example, like implementing some type of family or mentor-mentee competition. And maybe you can, one idea that I did as an MD chair was that I implemented a family and a mentor-mentee like semester-long competition. Berkeley's on the semester system. And of course, during the semester, I was organizing specific events for families. And so part of the competition was that if certain amount of people come out, you'll check off like this box from this like this semester long competition. So feel free to have like prizes relate to like other aspects of the club. Oh yes, and Khadijah said in the chat, an example that I can think of is ULV does We Buy You Boba Drink for submitting articles. That's also a low cost item. Or like maybe like at a general meeting, it's probably maybe after a while, like planning a general meeting, planning a general meeting can be a lot. And so maybe you want to open up the opportunity to plan an activity or an icebreaker to your general members. That can also be a free prize for, say, for like a raffle or like a competition. Oh, what's the best way to start a family system? That's a really great question, Yash. So I would say for a club who does not have a family system in place yet, I recommend that you would appoint, and so my advice is really meant for like smaller clubs who might not have as many members. So first off, appoint a membership development and education chair. And for that membership development education chair, before the fall semester or quarter starts, open up applications to become a family head. I would say maybe try to aim to recruit at least 6 family heads. That way you can create 3 pairs of 2 to have 3 families. And I would say 3 families is a really good starting number for clubs who don't have a family system in place. In terms of scouting out family heads, I would recommend returning members. Last term, when I was the MD&E chair for UC Berkeley Circle K, 5 out of the 6 family heads that I had were board members. And truth to be told, unfortunately, it was not the families were not as active as I would hope to be. And it's not the family heads part, it's just that they already have their board commitments. So I recommend trying to rely primarily on returning members to be family heads, or also like potentially people who served in a Circle K leadership position before, but they're not returning to a leadership position the following term. Those are great people to reach out to be family heads. And your MD&E chair could also put in the effort to plan like one family week, basically a spirit week, where families are tasked to do something every day to get members more acquainted with each other. I would say that is my best advice for clubs looking to start a family system. They don't have one in place. And going back in terms of overall recognition, Khadijah recommends service stamp cards. That's a great way for members to keep and your service stamp card can also relate to MRP. You can open it up to multiple events. Once you have like a stamp checked off, or like once you reach a certain amount of stamps, you can get this many entries into a raffle prize. Okay, well, seeing as how there are no more questions in the chat, I'm going to go ahead and pause recording and